Good morning, Dr. Gary here on the road. We are dental practice brokers nationwide. We sell dental practices. Today's topic is glaring dental contract omissions written by a non-dental attorney. We'll get into what happened shortly. These are like major omissions. You just don't do this, so we'll talk about it. Anyway, so we are now in 28 states. We have 10 employees, including 2 CPA accountants, an operations director, marketing director, and 5 development acquisition individuals, specialists. So we are here to help you. We're now available 363 days a year. We take off Christmas and Easter. And the phones are answered from 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. every single day. We simply pick up the phone essentially every day. So give us a call. Whether you're a buyer or a seller, need advice, whatever, just call us. We can chat with you. We've been doing this for 13 years now, and I was a dentist for 25, so we have a fair amount of knowledge to share. But it's always a new story, always a new deal. No 2 deals are alike. No 2 contracts are alike. It's always something different. It always changes. And it's been going on for 13 years. But we are here to assist you. Now, the information you're about to hear is for entertainment purposes. It's not legal or business advice. If you're thinking about selling to one of the big DSOs, please call us, because we have a lot of knowledge. That landscape is changing monthly. One of the big DSOs, their stock just went down to 0. 2 others couldn't get funding. That hasn't happened in a long time, to do a deal after letter of intent. So we know what the DSOs are looking for. We know how to work with them. We're independent of them. However, majority of them all pay our commission. So the seller will not have a commission. Secondly, the legal fees. When you work with us, based on criteria, we can get your legal fees reimbursed upon successful closing, depending on certain criteria. So give us a call about that. So what is today's story about? As you know, this information is late breaking. It just happened hours ago. And we just don't have time to go into studios to make fancy videos. This just happened. And I just can't believe it happened, but it happened. Disclaimer is, I'm not an attorney. Everything I'm about to say is for entertainment purposes, once again, and it's only my opinion. So, obviously I've learned a little bit over 13 years what dental contracts are supposed to look like, and the major components of them. But I'm not a dental attorney, and this advice is not legal advice. So this all started with a low-budget practice sale. Practice is selling for under $70,000. So the buyer and the seller assume they don't want to use dental attorneys because they think it's too expensive, they say. They assume because it's a low-budget sale under $70,000, that warrants a lower-budget attorney. Well, that's wrong, because a dental contract, whether it's for $70,000, $60,000, or for $700,000, there are certain components and time it takes an attorney to properly, that is a dental attorney, to properly craft that contract. There's liabilities that the attorney will incur, and he has to be careful. The contract has to be, something that's going to last forever. 20, 30, 40, 50 years into the doctor's estate. So it's not as though it's easier to write a contract below $70,000 easier than a $700,000. No. There's all elements and time and lease negotiations and indemnifications that have to go into it. And it's not just, I'll take a boilerplate contract off the shelf. That doesn't work either, because every deal is different. Every deal is unique. So this starts off with the buyer and seller. Both of them don't want to spend hardly any money for dental attorneys. Not that they're significantly more expensive. It's just that they know what they're doing. They've been doing it so long. So they figured they're going to shop for a really low budget attorney, really low cost attorney. After all, this is, they think, a low costing and selling practice. That's the wrong thinking. So they go out and shop and they find an attorney at 60% lower than the dental attorneys were charging. They figured, no problem. I got this covered. I'm saving all this money, 60%. I mean, what does a dental attorney charge? $5,000 to $7,000? It's not that much money based on the average sale. Mind you, most sales aren't this low. But it's still, you have to have a comprehensive contract that covers everything. So they go out and get an attorney 60% lower than the average dental attorney. And they think they've got a great bargain. They're going to beat all the odds. They know what they're doing. Yeah, tell me about it. So the non-dental attorney, and a respectful attorney, and all due respect to him, I'm sure he's an intelligent, he or she is an intelligent person. The first day we speak, I say, well, I was kind of hoping I was informed you knew dental deals, how to do them. He says, oh, I can handle it. I said, well, how many have you done? He says, well, minimal. So now I know this guy's not a player. Never really friggin', if he ever really wrote a dental contract at all, or knows what he's doing. Now we're going into jeopardy. I know it right now. I see the problems. This is why you want to deal with a dental broker, by the way. We've been there. We know things. 13 years, hundreds of contracts, hundreds of deals. I think I've learned a few things. So the attorney says to me, we're talking, he's a good guy, He says, by the way, do you have a blank dental contract I can use? I said, no, I really don't have that. I don't have a blank dental contract. Every contract is different, and I'm not an attorney. I can't give an opinion on one or give advice on one. I know a few things, but I'm not an attorney, so I really can't give you a blank dental contract. So now I know, okay, this guy's clueless. I know where this is heading. So sure enough, the contract get written as the seller's attorney generally writes the contract. So sure enough, I received the contract this morning. This is just an hour ago, 2 hours ago. I started reading the contract. And I'm like, whoa, got some glaring omissions here. And I don't know every line of a dental contract, what's important, what's not. I just have certain opinions. I'm not a dental attorney. So I start reading it, and I notice there's no remake policy. That is, what happens if you did a crown 6 months ago, 6 months before closing, after closing? What's going to happen if the crown fails, if the porcelain fractures? Who's responsible for that? And how long are they responsible for that? If it's not addressed in the contract, there's no answer. Well, the attorney doesn't have it in there. There was no remake policy. Next, what about access to records? Post-closing. Well, the seller's going to need access to his records if there's a lawsuit, if there's a fatality in a plane crash. That seller needs access to his original records because those records are going to get subpoenaed or whatever. He needs access to them. It's not mentioned. It's not there. Next, what about the next thing is, what about the credits of the seller that's on the accounts receivable? There's credits on an account, right? Because the insurance overpaid or buyer paid and you try to repay the buyer and the buyer wasn't available. So buyer's not available. And you try to get him back his credit. He overpaid for something and the insurance paid more than you thought. What happens there? Well, that credit just remains on the account. That credit should belong to the seller. The seller takes the responsibility. After the closing, a year, 2 years, 3 years later, the buyer says, oh, I've come back for my credit. That is a positive balance on the account. So, okay, the seller's supposed to take on that responsibility for those credits. In the meantime, seller maintains those credits. As simple as that. I once had a deal where the buyers noticed it was $24,000 worth of positive balances, a credit on the patient account. She says to the seller post-closing, hey, it's $24,000. Write me a check for 24. No, let's go back to the contract. On the contract says all credits belong to seller. That's it. Next, I'm reading the contract, and it says the closing, we're in June of 23. The contract says on it, closing should occur on or before February 15th, 2018. I'm like, what the frig is this? We're in 2023. You're talking about 2018? They just copied the contract from somewhere else, I guess. So this is just a few of the problems. Again, I'm not a dental attorney. This is why you need a dental attorney. They know what that contract's supposed to have. Contract's supposed to protect you. For a few $1,000s more, you could have had protection for you and your estate. Please listen to me. Please. You do not use a non-dental attorney. And this is why. This is my opinion why you don't use it. But I suggest you never use a non-dental attorney. And these are only a few examples. Now, I've just read the contract 3 times this morning. I'll read it again this afternoon. I'm sure I'm going to find more problems with it. And this is the issue. Glaring omissions by a non-dental attorney. This is only the beginning of it. You've got to use a dental attorney. Please listen to me. However, if you'd like to use your private attorney, yeah, sure, go ahead. Let them ghost the contract. In other words, the dental attorney is the main attorney, and your attorney will monitor and look over the contract and give his opinions. That's fine. But don't have the main attorney as a non-dental attorney, and this is only specific examples why. Well, I hope you found that informative. We're always writing new YouTube videos. We have our new lists coming out, so be aware of that. Our list of dental practices for sale comes out every 4 to 6 weeks. We're real busy now. Excited to help you. And you'll get the actual list. It's a little different than what we have on the internet. Internet lags behind on our listing of practices. Our internal list is different. And also our internal list has practices before it goes on the internet. And we have 855 buyers now. They get the list before anybody gets the list. So it's our internal buyers. So sign your non-disclosure agreement. Call us up. Doesn't cost you anything. And we're here to help you. We always have new topics constantly coming out. If you hit the subscribe button, you'll get alerted to when the new YouTubes come out. We try to give you breaking information. This happened 2 hours ago. I don't know what's going to happen with this deal. But it's Saturday, and I got to get on top of this. It never ends. You have to have a broker that's working essentially 24/7, through the weekends, through every day, except Christmas and Easter. We're always there. And the dental attorneys we work with are usually available on the weekends, too. So please listen to us. I've learned a few things over the years, and I want to share them. They're all my opinions, but I want to share them. Thank you. Bye now.